All right, what's going on? Week 14, rookie left tackle video. We'll get into it here in a second. We'll start from the least to the best in this one. Andrew Thomas had a rough week, gave up 2 sacks, had a few other bad plays. Most of them came in the fourth quarter, but nonetheless, it was not a good game for Andrew Thomas. We'll talk about that. Jedrick Wills, not like you don't leave that game as a Browns fan thinking Jedrick Wills like, man, he really screwed up, but there wasn't anything that really impressed me. But we'll go through it. But there was a lot to be desired. I would like to hear your guys' opinions on him in the run game. I think as a pass blocker, he does pretty damn good. He had a couple of bad reps, but he's very solid. He's good with his hands. But just a run game, there's more that's to be desired, and it's not just simply him not finishing a play. There's times where, his guy's making a tackle because he doesn't finish. Becton played really well. Teams are starting to play him a little differently, so we'll start off with Becton since he played the best. So let's get into it. The rookie week 14 left tackle video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like it. All that good stuff. Just do it. Just do it. They say, hey, you got to ask them to do it. Just do it. I'm asking you. Do it. All right. Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton, week 14 versus Seattle Seahawks. Second week in a row, we got a team playing the Seahawks. Andrew Thomas last week, Mekhi Becton this week. Frustrating game if you're a Jets fan. I know you guys are in on the tank stuff right now, but to miss all those field goals, I was like, oh, look, they got into position. They kick a field goal and miss. Mekhi Becton, let's talk about him. We're going to focus today on inside counters, inside rush moves, because he got a lot of that. Plus, and we'll start it off with it, a lot of times, and this has happened a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which week, but it happened. They are lining up someone on the outside of him, and they're just not rushing, which is a credit to Mekhi Becton, that they don't view that as like a winnable battle. Like you see, you got KJ Wright lined up. Now, I'm not saying KJ Wright pass rushes every time, but there are a lot of times they're just not sending somebody over the edge. It's not like they're looping somebody around, and they're just leaving that total edge wide open. Here they do it again. Now, this is what you want to do. If they're going to do that, you got to have, you and your guard have to realize, and they do this very well, that, all right, well, you got to come and take that over, Becton, and the guard needs to go find work, which they do, which I know he's trying to get out here, but Becton immediately gets down, takes care of it, wins his battle, and then the guard's able to come and give the center some help. So that's good stuff. Here, this is just watch. This is a stunt. Not even a stunt. Like this is sorry. This linebacker drops in the coverage, doesn't rush. So Becton immediately gets down and just that's the Mekhi Becton Bam of the week. I'll be honest, there wasn't a ton of Bams in the run game. This is the Mekhi Becton Bam of the week. Bam! On the ground. I like audibly like cheer whenever I see Becton do something like that. Next play, what do we got here? Okay, this is a really good rep. You got Griffin's gonna inside counter, then spin out. And Becton just handles it. So you got Becton coming out as a wide 9. He is screaming off the edge here. Hits the inside counter. Becton, not the greatest right foot, but it's not horrible either. It's a little like skip step. In reality, you would like it to, when that inside counter comes, to like power it down here instead of going back there. But you can live with that. And then just play the piano on his back. He spins. Get those, where his chest is going to be when the spin's over. So get those hands ready. Bam, jacks him up. Play over. Good stuff there. That's an awesome rep for Becton. Next rep, again, protecting the inside. Like I said, this is what we're focusing on this week. Protecting the inside. Picking up a stunt. But even if this wasn't a stunt, this is a really good job. And again, it's Griffin coming off the edge. Watch that right foot. Beautiful. That right foot, not dropping back here and giving a lane to the quarterback. It's totally walling off Griffin. Then he passes it off to the guard. And then the other D lineman. I mean, the ball's out, but he's there to stop that as well. Next play. Okay, this one is a sack. I don't know who they credited this one to. Jets fans, you guys know. Whoever they credit this to, the guard or Becton, but it should have been credited to the guard. This is, they've been doing this, like, they were stunting on you all game, and this is the third quarter, And Becton and the running back have these two players out here. They have to be ready, they have to get out there for these players. So Becton can't really be worrying about this defensive lineman right here. He can't stay inside and keep a hand on there. He has to be. They have to stop this. And so Becton powers down, but the guard allows the defensive lineman to get upfield. And at that point, you've lost. You have lost at that point. You have lost because now Becton cannot power down into it. Watch as when Griffin shows that he's going inside. Becton, it's not like the quickest transition, but pretty quickly he's getting down there. But because this guard is like this, you should never, as a guard, be like this unless it's designed. There's certain times, but for the most part, you shouldn't be like this for this exact reason. Because now you've got a pass rusher free, you got a free rusher, and the left tackle can't come and power this down. And now you have two guys getting to the quarterback, let alone the right tackle. Let's watch the right tackle too. He doesn't come off the. This is just a mess, dude. I feel so bad. I know Jets fans, you guys probably want to move on from Darnold, and it's probably the right decision just because where he is in his career, and it's like you can't. It's hard to start over again without knowing. But I feel so bad for the kid. I really do. I hope he ends up in a good situation, whether it's Pittsburgh and wherever. I hope he ends up in a good situation and gets a shot, even if it's not as a day one starter, just getting a shot. Not much in the run game. Couple nice plays. Got the run out right here. Just that nice punch. Now, what he does need to do overall is have a better job of finishing this because the punch is great, but a lot of times he's getting that awesome punch and it looks cool, and then they're beating him afterwards. But on that one, he does a good job. Like I said, I always like to point out, where does this player start? Where does he end? We're starting right here. He ends up, 2 yards outside the numbers. Here, just a nice little combo to the linebacker. We'll see what he does. What does he do? He helps out his guard really well. Gives that little help. That right hand's so strong. Gets it to where, this should be a win for the guard. The guard needs to win this. Becton helped you out. The guard needs to win this. Becton getting to the linebacker. The guard needs to win this. If the guard wins this and doesn't allow the defensive lineman to scrape over the top and make that tackle, this is a nice run. This guy comes over here, but it's a nice 5-yard run. But that's a good combo on Becton. So, week 14 for Becton in the books. Good bounce back game after giving up a couple sacks. This is basically the highlight of your week, probably, is watching Mekhi Becton. Not this video, just watching Mekhi Becton. Also, Jets fans, I have a question for you. I'm a Miami guy. I saw Braxton Berrios has been involved throughout the year. How do you guys feel about him? I want to know. I liked him at Miami. I didn't think he was going to be a great pro, but I liked him. I want to know. Let me know what your guys' feelings are on Braxton Berrios. All right, Jedrick Wills, week 14 versus the Ravens. First, I want to ask you, Browns fans, what is up with his ankle? Just one, I want to know because we're playing this week. But two, I just want to know if it really affected him in the fourth quarter. I want to know because obviously he had that ankle, or it seemed like an ankle injury, and then he came back 5 plays later. I would like to know that. But overall for Jedrick Wills in this game, to be honest, man, I thought it was a kind of a bad game for Wills. Now, it wasn't, you didn't have those horrible moments that you catch on TV and everyone, talks about him for a week. But it just was overall not great. The pass stuff, there's some good in here. We're going to go through it, but sometimes we got beat inside. And then the run game, man, it left a lot to be desired. So I would like to know what your guys' thoughts were, obviously, on him, But he's set a high standard, though, too. So when you have games like this, it's considered bad, which I guess is kind of a good thing. Anyways, let's go through it. First rep, just a nice pass rep. This is we've talked about. I need to start muting my freaking phone. I'm so stupid. We've talked about that like that little quick 3-step thing, getting it back into his kick slide. What I've always said is I don't feel like he needs to do the third, because the third can sometimes expose himself inside. This is awesome. He does it twice. This guy's trying to get around the edge. And you're just, I mean, this is a beautiful pass rep. I mean, look at where we're starting and finishing. We are finishing 10 yards back. Beautiful. Beautiful. That is perfect. And it's not like this guy's going to get around the edge. I mean, look how feet square or feet wide. Just a beautiful pass rep. Here's where it's some really good stuff. He's done this a little bit in the season. Awesome here. So let's see. So Wills has some, his arms aren't the longest, so sometimes he'll get this long arm thing. Like you guys saw that against Montez Sweat. And this is where Wills really sets himself apart. This is where he's like much better than Becton or Thomas. His hands are just like so refined for a rookie, and he's first time playing left tackle, so he's got this arm bar. And to think this in the moment and do it, man, it's one thing to try to do some practice. To do it in a game, takes that arm, just simple, and dumps the guy. Saying like that's awesome stuff right there. Like. There's guys who've been playing their entire career in the NFL at left tackle, and they never do. Like, they don't do that a rep. They've never done. Like, I haven't seen Andrew Thomas do that once all year. Again, similar thing, where it's not the one arm, but guys bull rushing. Take the hands, like literally almost like just basically holds the guy's hands, dumps them. Like, dude, you're not going to use all your momentum. You're not going to lean into me, because if you do that, I'm gonna dump you, and that's what Wills does on that play, on those two plays. So that was really cool to see. Here, just nice, calm, doesn't overreact. I mean, this is a nice juke from this defensive end. But watch his feet with the juke. Just very short, one step to the right. Okay, you're gonna go back outside, left. Finishes the rep. Good stuff. Now here's some bad in this game. Go through a few plays. This was actually the first play of the game. Anyways, just oversets on this and gets Baker killed on it. I mean, I was worried because he didn't have, like, his first game of the year against the Ravens wasn't anything special. Give a sack. I was worried that this is going to be a rough night. It wasn't as bad as this all night, but just totally oversets and just isn't ready for the inside counter. And he's been pretty good about that. I mean, gets Baker creamed on that play. Next rep. And this is where, like, that little kick slide thing, where he's putting so much weight on his left foot that when that inside counter comes, his kind of like lower half is behind his top half on this. And he just can't get can't power his feet down, can't mirror him the way he wants to. Now maybe he was expecting the guard to help him out a little bit there, but I don't know. That wasn't a very good rep though. Next one, we have again another inside counter, where he's just kind of floating a little bit. Like, just, he's instead of getting vertical, which this is part of the Browns scheme, so I'm not like hammering him for this one. But instead of getting vertical, he's more floating out, and it's just a defensive end sets it up. They wait for you to take a step like that and to not punch, but put your arms out, and then just totally counters him inside. You could have got called for a holding on this one. And then let's talk about the run game, man. This is where I was a little less impressed. There was a rep I had on here. I didn't cut it up, and I wasn't going to go back and remake the whole clip for a bad play because I try to be positive. But here's something we've talked about a lot with Wills more than the other two, is this. Because the Browns run so much of this outside zone, what is he like? What he's trying to do, and this is less me being like, oh, he screwed up this block, and I think the Browns should change this. I think Callahan should change this for Wills, because we've talked about it, that whole slingshot thing, where if you don't get across the face, you try and like push him back, but he's so worried about doing that, where earlier in the season, like the first game, he struggled with this, and then he started cutting on this. He should just roll through his legs right there. There's no reason to be trying to do this slingshot thing, because he ends up basically helping him make the tackle, basically. Like this, it's hard to cross face over here. Although I do think there should be more of an effort to cross face on the backside, but I'm also questioning Bill Callahan, who's like the O-line coach GOAT. But I mean, he did it earlier in the year though, so I'm gonna say it with my chest, cut him. I'm not a big fan of that slingshot thing. Maybe it can be used occasionally, but trying to do it all the time, I think it's just going to be something like teams are going to be like, oh, this is what they do. Exploit it. Here we got a down block. And this is where I just want to be a little more chippy, man. Be not chippy, but you got a down block. You don't need to have good technique on a down block. You really don't. You really just got to get to the right spot. Like, he's in the right spot right now. Now, freaking get on his back and bury him. Instead, he spins out of it, and he ends up making the tackle, although, the running back's going to get tackled anyways. But, and I get, like, I'm kind of, like, in a sense, telling him right now to not have good technique, but just, like, you see the way Thomas does it, just bury him. This was a good down. This is good with like good technique, where he's getting across face, like the lineman's trying to get cross face, using hand fight, and then when he goes to redirect, you bury. That's what I love to say. When they redirect, when they try and get off that block, bench press them, pancake. You just threw Garrett Wolf on the ground. And here's what I like. Watch this. This is what I want from Wills a little bit. Maybe not this necessarily, but this attitude. So you got a pile. And a lot of times Wills will stand around. You got a pile. Go put your shoulder into somebody's ribs. And watch. Don't do that. Just continue to do stuff like that. Play chippy, finish guys, lay down on guys when you pancake them. And you don't even have to be a good trash talker, Wills. Like, just do that. And then when he does this, all you have to do is say, just talk. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be a trash talker. Just do it. And he pancakes guys, finish them every once in a while. So, I thought this was kind of a rough game for Jedrick Wills. Browns fans, I want to trash talk you, but the Giants are in shambles right now. I guess we're going to get into that with Andrew Thomas, but we're just, we got Freddie Kitchens coaching, although I would much rather have Freddie Kitchens than Jason Garrett, but it's going to be Freddie Kitchens running Jason Garrett's offense. Daniel Jones probably. I mean, we're a mess right now, so it's really hard for me to trash talk you guys. I'll be honest, but anyways, that's week 14 of Jedrick Wills. All right, Andrew Thomas, week 14 versus the Arizona Cardinals. 2 years in a row, the New York Giants give up 8 sacks against the Arizona Cardinals. Rough game for the Giants O-line as a whole. Andrew Thomas did give up 2 sacks in this game. In fact, the four bad plays we're going to go through all were in the fourth quarter at the end, when this team kind of seemed a little defeated. Here's what I'll say to Giants fans. We went through some tough times with number 78 right there. We went through some tough times. It seemed like it was getting worse every single week. But now, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about this game for him. It was a bad game, a bad finish to a game. But I'm not worried about Andrew Thomas after this Cardinals game. We saw him put together 5 really good weeks in a row against some good competition in there too, Like, obviously, they played the Seahawks and the Bengals, which wasn't the greatest of competition. But, you had the Eagles, who were, top 3 in sacks. You had Jason Pierre-Paul in there. So he saw some good competition. And a Chase Young, shut down Chase Young in there too. So he's going to figure it out. We'll talk about it. There's something new that Marcus Golden did against him. that is a correction. This was them attacking him on film on the things he's fixed. So we'll go through it. Let's go. First sack. First sack wasn't the worst thing in the world, but we're going to go through it. Now, I've talked about this with all these guys. Most of the time, let's see where the ball is. Let's see where the Reddick gets around the edge. Reddick's getting around at 8 or 9 yards. Most of the time, that's going to win. Most of the time, you think that's a good rep from Andrew Thomas. The issue is that these guys don't pick up a stunt, and Jones has nowhere to go, and he's already hobbled, so he can't run. But most of the time, you're going to live with this. But that's why you don't want to live with that. That's why you want to win right here. You want to win right here. You don't want to win back here because of this. Because now, instead of just keeping it in your hands, you got it in the quarterback's hands or your right guard's hands. So, I mean, I don't even hate this rep, to be honest. I mean, let's see where he opens up his hips. I tried to find something to where I could be like, oh my gosh, see, this is where he screwed up. He starts opening up his hips at 5 yards. That's pretty good. 4.5, 5 yards. Now he does have a little bit of a lean, but it's not like Reddick is getting his hands on him. And he puts the hand on the small back. Now Reddick is fast, so he does get around that edge. But I'll be honest, I don't hate this rep. But how do you stop this rep from happening though? Well, instead of opening your hips at this moment, give 2 more kick slots. I know it keeps the inside open, but you gotta trust. You gotta be able to trust that you can counter. You can handle that counter, which he's done very well with the last month and a half. But the way to counter that would be stay vertical another yard or 2. Nonetheless, it's a sack. Now this one's brutal. I mean, just gets McCoy killed. This was actually the last play of the game. What are we doing here? Again, where's the ball being snapped from? We're opening the hips at around, that 4 to 5 yards. But he got this is old. This is the old me. This is the old. Don't let the old you come out. Watch on his punch. He is totally leaning on his punch. The punch is early. It's wide. See those wide hands? That is something he has to fix. Like that needs to be something he works on the offseason, whether it's putting bands on your arms and keeping them inside. So it's like a combination of those 3 things. And then Reddick is just able to get around that edge. That lean. When he leans like that, now his feet suck. And you get Cole McCoy smacked. Not smacked. He gets the ball stripped from him. Next play. Here's what I was talking about, Marcus Golden. So we've seen that Andrew Thomas will protect the inside now. He does a good job of it. He almost is like does it a little extra to make sure. Well, here's what's going to happen now. That. Now, this sack doesn't go on him because it goes on Zeitler. But what does Marcus Golden do, guys? He shows in. He shows inside. Gets Thomas to go in. Now Thomas gets his feet crossed up on Lemieux. But nonetheless, shows that inside. And then goes out. Tries to get him to protect that inside. It's the same thing as the other thing where they try and set him up outside and then go in. It's the exact opposite of that. I mean, if Zeitler blocks this well, this ends up being a 3rd sack for Andrew Thomas on the game. Good fumble recovery. Not really. I don't care about that. And he does get crossed up with Shane Lemieux a little bit, but see the same thing here again. Same exact thing. That time you can't blame it on Shane Lemieux. Or you want to blame that other one on Shane Lemieux. That one time you can't blame it on getting your feet crossed up. He protects inside. And his hands are out, so he's off balance. Gets around the edge. Now that's not a sack. You just gotta be. You can't. That step is too big. What have we talked about when he's been well? That right foot. That's too wide. He hasn't shown you enough to take a wide of that step. Just give it a little. All you need to do is put that foot from here to here. And then you can trust your athleticism around the edge. That's an Andrew Thomas quote. Andrew Thomas has been quoting me, by the way. No big deal. All right. Here we go. Here's where he does shut down the inside counter. Now the big step helps him. I don't really love that step. We thought, this is something we're just showing with Becton. But nonetheless, his athleticism and the ball is not getting rid of. This is the story of this week for the Giants, because I just showed you a good Andrew Thomas play. I'm about to show you another one where you have this play action. He's patient, very patient. Forces him out. Reddick goes to come back inside. He's there. Feet are good. Now, Jones is being sacked for the second play in a row that we've shown, because the running back with the tight end totally screwed this up when I did a 5-minute rant on this, Giants fans. But that was a good counter. A couple run plays. Just a nice redirect and bury. Just driving those feet, short, choppy steps. As soon as, what do we always say? When they redirect to make a tackle, you bury their ass. And that's what he does. Pancake City. Roll over a guy. It's always a win. Whenever you're rolling over defensive lineman, it's usually a win. And now, this isn't anything special. This is for Giants fans only. The O-line coach, Coach Gooch, he talked about him picking up the safety and him being smart. Really smart here, right here. Now, he said the rest of the line screwed it up. But pass it. Make sure to pass this off to the guard, and then comes off here. Nothing special. But if the other guys block this correctly, if Lemieux stays on here and Gates gets off here, well, we got ourselves a hole. We got ourselves a big hole if we're able to come off onto this player and Lemieux's able to hold this block. So, a rough week for Andrew Thomas. But I'm pretty confident that he's going to bounce back from this. So, if you like this video, please like and subscribe it. Jets fans, Browns fans, we're about to go to war this week. I'm actually looking forward to it, kinda, not really. But Andrew Thomas versus Myles Garrett. We're gonna if Andrew Thomas shuts down Myles Garrett, you may hear an insufferable video next week, Browns fans. So. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week.